Well, welcome back everybody to PoolieMagTV, the raw, unedited, unscripted NUFC fan channel where everybody's got an opinion and nobody's opinion's wrong. This is my second video of Friday, but you will see this Monday. This is just a piece around the faltering cracks that are starting to appear, the chinks in the armour, shall I say, of Newcastle United at the minute. You know, and I don't really like to do these depressing dour videos, but I do have an opinion on these things, you know, and I see other people talking about them, and I want to bring my opinion to the fore. You know, I do have an opinion on the state of Newcastle United at the minute. I'm an avid Newcastle United fan. You know, I've got a fledgling Newcastle United YouTube channel, you know, and I've got people who subscribe and who listen to me, you know, who want to hear my opinion. So this is my opinion on the state of play at Newcastle United at the minute. You know, I'm not going to rant, I'm not going to rave, I'm not going to scream, I'm not going to shout, and I'm going to try and keep my swearing to a minimum in case there's kids out there. But I do have a little bit more oomph and a little bit more bass in my voice today, because this is a subject that is starting to really knock me now. You know, like I say, I'm not going to scream and shout. You know, I love the channels that do that. I love Chris off Evermore. He is somebody who I could listen to all day, could read a phone book, and I would really, really enjoy it. But that's not my style. You know, sometimes I have come out and I have straight, but that's not my style. I'm going to try and keep it, you know, at this pace, at this level. But, you know, this subject is starting to really knock me now. So, November 2021, Piff took over Newcastle United. Steve Bruce was still in charge. We just bought it off Mike Ashley, who had absolutely destroyed the club. You know, there was kids getting thrown in the air, people drink, you know, in a good way, you know, babies were getting thrown in the air, we were adulation all over, you know, joy, celebrations, you know, it was like the Keegan years times 100, you know, and people were partying for days on end, people were missing work, you know, and people were just buoyant for the first time in a very, very long time. You know, we still had Steve Bruce at the helm at the time. We lost our first game against Tottenham. Steve Bruce, adios, taxi for Steve Bruce. In comes Eddie Howe. Now, Eddie Howe had a slow start, but Eddie Howe, you know, was backed in the January window with Kieran Trippier, Bruno Guimaraes, Dan Burn. You know, these three players really, really helped the club. Really, really helped steer us from relegation to a really comfortable mid-table team. We got the backing off Piff. Piff seemed really interested. We had Amanda Staveley all over the news. We had it all over the media. She was great. She was bigging us up. We're going to be number one. We had Medad Gadusi coming and doing the same thing. The Reuben brothers weren't really as active or as vocal, but you could see them. You know, the PIF lot were coming over more regular. You know, this was an exciting project. I remember us versing Arsenal at home and battering them just before the end of that season. I was talking to my dad. The flags were there, everything. I said, Arsenal aren't ready for us tonight, and we're going to beat them, and we did. Then we went on to that summer. We bought Nick Pope, Sven Botman, Alexander Isak. You know, three massive players that really helped us that season secure Champions League football. We had a great season that season. We finished fourth. Callum Wilson was firing. Joe Willock had the season of his life. Eddie Howe looked like he'd taken a relegation team to a Champions League team. And he had. You know, with the backing, he was getting the right players in. We were getting the right players in at the right times. Yes, some of the deals were stalling a little bit, like they are now, but we were pouncing on gems like a Botman, like a Bruno, you know, and then it comes to the January window of that season and we get Anthony Gordon. Now, Amanda Staveley pushed for Anthony Gordon. We had people at the back. We had Dan Ashworth. You know, we seemed to have some structure. We finished fourth that season and we ploughed into Sandro Tonali, Harvey Barnes, Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall. 4 quality players. That took us, we're going to take this to the next level. We had a lot of injuries that season, but at the back end of that season, we come back into it, you know, and we finished 7th. We should have got European football. Alexander Isak firing all cylinders. Callum Wilson had a good back end of the season. We looked like we were on the cusp of something great. We didn't get anybody in that January, you know, and then we didn't get nobody in the summer. We didn't buy anybody in the summer. Alarm bells started ringing. Yes, we got Willa Sula. But Willa Sula, as much as we like his antics on the field and Agent Sula and all that, he's not good enough at the minute. I hope one day he truly is. I really do hope one day that this guy truly is. But at the minute, he's not. He costs £11 million from a relegated team. So, there you go. And we struggled at the beginning of last season. We did. We struggled right up until the Brentford game. And then Eddie Howe had a masterstroke, had a one-to-one chat with all the first team players to see where their heads were at, what they expected of him and what he expected of them. And we went on a 19-game, whatever it was, you know, where we'd only lost one. We went on a massive run anyway, didn't we? I can't quite remember, but I think it was about 19 games. You know, we won 9 in a row, something like that. We beat Tottenham, we beat Manchester United all the way from home. We beat Arsenal away from home, all in the same week. We were doing great. Comes to January and it looks like, right, okay, this squad, look, we don't want to, you know, we don't want to go back to last season and get decimated with injuries. Let's buy somebody who can come in and give us a little bit of a lift till the end of the season. Nada, not a thing. We didn't get no backing in the January transfer window. We go on, we get the Carabao Cup, all the adulation, all the celebrations, the Town Moor event, the parade, the lot. Looked great. It looked like we were on the up again. We went on a little run at the end of the season. We finished 5th. Now, Champions League football is back at Newcastle United. We've just won the first trophy in 70 years. And it looks like now this is the season where we've got no PSR restrictions. We're going to go on and on and on. And we're going to buy at least 3 or 4 players that are of a Tan Harling and his axe level that we are going to really push on and do really well this summer. Yeah, well, what's happened? Faltering. Not being able to get players over the line. Yes, we've got Anthony Elanga, really good talent. I really like him. But he's not good enough. There's cracks. Paul Mitchell's gone. Dan Ashworth's gone. Amanda Staveley's gone. Nobody's coming out. Nobody's coming out from the club to talk to us anymore. Nobody's keeping us in the loop. You know, Isaac wants to leave. Who's next? The new stadium, where's that at? New training ground, where's that at? Where's the sponsorships at? We've got no sporting director, we've got no CEO. We're rudderless, we've got no direction. We've got Eddie Howe. You might as well put a broom up his arse and let him sweep the floors and all. Because Eddie Howe is trying to do everything. And he can't. Him and his nephew scouting players, going over for talks, whilst he's also got to manage the team, set tactics out, train them for pre-season, etc., etc., etc. This isn't good enough. This is not good enough. This isn't about PSR. This is about the state of our club. What's happened to the Saudi investment? What's happened to getting the right people in at the right time? We want to be a mega club, but we can't even get a CEO or a sporting director. We can't even get a new training ground. We can't even get sponsorships. Yes, PSR's hindering us, but we are also hindering ourselves. We are. There's no denying that. It's a shit show up the top. You know, what's going on? It's like a wall that's crumbling. You know, it's like a wall that was a very steady wall, and then all it takes is one crack, you know, a little bit of wear and tear, and boom, before you know it, that wall comes crashing down. And this is where we're at. This is a pivotal 5 weeks till the end of the summer now. And if we can't afford to lose Alexander Isak and not replace him with people, and somebody as good as him, or if not as good as him, not far off him, in a Benjamin Sesko. Because this is starting now to remind me of a Mike Ashley summer. And that is not what we need. That is not what we need. We don't have no structure at the top. We clearly can't get no sponsorship deals like we said we were going to be able to do. What's happening at Newcastle United? This takeover was meant to set us to be an elite club. And yes, the Premier League have pushed us and they pulled us and they put us in a little box in the corner away so we don't challenge the top 6. I'm well aware of all that. But we aren't helping ourselves either. There's a lot more we could be doing. And we look a shambles in this transfer window. And we look a really, really small club. Now, the Saudis need to pull the finger out their arse and they need to start backing this club in ways off the pitch to build our commercial revenue, to get us to a point where we can spend 300, 200 grand a week on players. Because Isaac won't be the only one that goes. And there's only so much Eddie Howe can do. There's only so many times you can get us Champions League football with a paper-thin squad. There's only so many times you can do it. There's only so many times he's going to want to do it before he thinks, here, what's the point? I'm off, I'm gone. England want me. Other clubs will have me. I've done wonders here. See you later. Then who do you get? A mercenary. A big name but has no connection with the fans or the club. This is the direction we're heading. If we don't do something quick. This is the direction Newcastle United are heading if we do not do something quick. You know, I didn't want to have a rant, but I've got to sometimes. We've got to, on this channel, it's not about all the good stuff. We've got to talk about stuff that's happening. And this is my opinion. Other people drink the Kool-Aid and other people think it's great. At least it's better than Mike Ashley. Well, that's like saying, well, I used to eat 3 lumps of shit and now I only eat 2 lumps of shit. It's better. Yeah, but you're still eating shit. You know what I mean? This isn't much better at the minute, is it? Because I can see some cracks and chinks in our armour. You know, it only takes another chink before you get stabbed through the heart. And then what happens then? The club's dead again. You know, we finish in 10th, languishing in mid-table. Nobody wants to come to us. Piffle, willing to offload us. Yeah, you might think I'm going on and I'm catastrophising everything and it's worst case scenario. I'm not stupid. I can see with my own eyes what's going on at the minute, and it's not good. It's not good at all. Something needs to happen. Something needs to drastically happen at Newcastle United for us to now start competing. Now, I know we can't compete to a level that we really want to, but we can compete a lot better than this. We can compete a hell of a lot better than this. We need some structure, and we need it soon. Anyway, that's my thought of the day. That's my rant over with. Hit like, hit subscribe, comment down below. Keep it black and white, keep it PoolieMagTV. Over and out, folks.